My name's Lindsay Maxey, and I'm the Human Resource Specialist for the school district. I'm here today to talk about leave without pay. This video should not take more than 10 minutes of your time, and it can be found on the Human Resources page of the website. Leave without pay and vacation time is something that affects all of us. The goal of this video is to give you all of the information necessary to make plans for any leave you see coming this school year. Alright, let's get started. This first slide shows a screenshot of the form that is used in a leave without pay situation. This form is extremely important and should always be completed when any leave without pay is taken, from an hour or a half day to even the whole year. It is MIS Form 5034 and can be found either on the website or with your payroll contact. Let's talk about some of the types of leave without pay that are taken. You have illness, emergency leave, and extended leaves of absence. We will talk more about extended leaves, including FMLA, in the following slides. We are going to focus on the first two types of leave without pay today: routine illnesses or emergency situations. So let's go over how to fill out the leave without pay form. The top portion of this form should be filled out by you as the employee. It asks for your name, job title, and department school. You will also need to choose the reason that corresponds to why you are out on leave without pay. Finally, you will include the dates that you will be on leave without pay. It is important that the date fields are marked as accurately as possible. Quick side note here, remember that you will need to fill out two different leave without pay forms if you are out for two different reasons. For example, on Monday morning you wake up ill, and then Thursday of that same week your car breaks down. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anyone this year, but if it does, you will need to do two separate leave without pay forms since these are two separate instances. One more example. If you are out sick on a Monday and return to work on that Tuesday, but then you are out again the following Monday due to illness, you will need to do two separate forms because these are not consecutive days. So remember, different reasons and non-consecutive dates should be submitted on two leave without pay forms. This next piece of information is probably the most important, so make sure you make note of this. You absolutely must have documentation with every single leave without pay that is turned in. It is a requirement for your leave without pay to be approved. If you are out with an illness, you must have a doctor's note. If your child is sick, you must have a doctor's note to go along with that leave without pay. A handwritten note from you explaining the situation will not be accepted. You must have appropriate documentation with any leave without pay. The last item to mention on this slide is about signing the document. You are signing that the information is correct, so please make sure to make note of the days that you are out, the reason, and that you've attached appropriate documentation. The next slide shows some examples of appropriate documentation for any leave without pay. Doctor's notes, towing bills, or court paperwork are all valid. Remember, you must have appropriate documentation. It cannot be any handwritten notes from you to your principal. Moving on to some of the reasons leave without pay will not be approved. If you move into a leave without pay status, events such as these listed on the screen will be disapproved absences. With that being said, we need to discuss what the process looks like if your leave is not approved. The initial disapproval comes from your principal or department head. The leave without pay form is then sent to me and Human Resources and added to the board agenda for approval by the school board. This process can be lengthy at times, and there are situations where your leave without pay will not go before the board for several weeks, especially in months where there is only one board meeting. Progressive discipline is used for all disapproved leave without pay. Approved leave without pay will not follow this progressive discipline process. The first disapproved leave without pay would be a letter of warning. The second would be a letter of reprimand. The third would be your second letter of reprimand. The fourth is a 1-day suspension. The fifth is a 5-day suspension. And finally, termination. You will be removed from the progressive discipline plan if you do not receive any leave without pay discipline for a period of 24 months. Documentation is key. Remember, no documentation means disapproved leave without pay, which means progressive discipline. One other thing to mention on this slide is that if you are ever in doubt about how much leave you have, it is shown on your pay stub, or you can check with your payroll contact. Now I'd like to move on to the FMLA section. Employees who deal with a long-term illness, a family member's long-term illness, or a maternity situation is all reasons that would fall under the Family Medical Leave Act. If you find yourself dealing with a long-term illness, such as cancer, surgery, or even having a baby, you will need to contact both Human Resources and your payroll contact. There are certain requirements that must be met to be eligible under FMLA. Once I receive the phone call from you, I will determine your eligibility and send you the appropriate paperwork. If you are eligible, your doctor will complete the medical portion and return to my office. It will then be sent to the insurance department to ensure that you receive your board-paid benefits for a period of up to 12 weeks. It is very important to remember you will also need to contact your payroll contact to fill out the leave without pay form. You will only need to fill out this form for days that you are out on leave without pay. So 2 key things to remember. If you are going to be out for an extended period of time, you will need to contact me to find out if you are eligible for FMLA benefits, and you will also need to fill out the leave without pay form through your payroll contact at your school or department. The very last thing we need to address is the school board's procedure for allowing up to 1 year off of work unpaid for an illness or maternity. You cannot request unpaid leave to work another job. If you find yourself in the situation of needing a whole year off, you will need to fill out the leave without pay form as soon as possible and also notify your principal or department head so that they can prepare in your absence. You must notify us by March 1st of the school year of your absence that you will be returning for the subsequent year. Remember, you may or may not be placed back into the same position upon your return. Hopefully you are all now better prepared to handle a leave without pay situation. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best.